today I have a PlayStation 4 Slim with no display. Another shop had attempted a repair and given it back to the customer as a no fix. It looks like they really took their time labeling all the screws on the board, but also pinched the ribbons under the metal shield. I'll usually mark the black screws with Sharpie and assume that the others are silver screws, but this kinda works better. With all that said, let's switch over to the teardown time lapse. This video really isn't a guide, it's more of a commentary on what may have gone wrong at another shop. This isn't a rant about competitors. I appreciate people wanting to take their devices to others to be repaired, but should your device come back not repaired, it may be worth getting a second opinion. We charge a bench diagnostic fee that goes towards the cost of a repair if needed, but some things can be quickly fixed for that diagnostic fee. I'll just pop the hood, so to speak, and take a look below. The ribbons are all perfectly fine in spite of being somewhat pinched, and they were well seated. All 8 thermal pads were placed squarely over the RAM, definitely not an overheating problem there. They even took the time to label the heatsink retaining screw. I love it. You might have spotted it earlier, but let's take a look at that HDMI port area. Right, that's a lot of flux. By Louis Rossmann standards, it's pretty minimal, but this should have been cleaned up long before it hardened. With the board out, I think I see our problem, and it has to do with these pins right here. Look closer. When I said these pins here, I meant every single one of them. Only one of these were soldered on. That's your problem right there. I'll grab the hot air gun. This shouldn't take long at all. The only things attached are the 4 feet, and I'm betting they aren't holding on tight. Yeah, this looks messy with flux, but I'm adding more. I've got to get these pads and feet cleaned out and replace the solder. Some copper wick with fresh flux will make quick work soaking up the old pads. I think this is actually the factory solder. The other shop likely attempted the heat gun on, heat gun off method and gave up when it didn't work. A little isopropyl alcohol will clean off the new flux, but won't get rid of the hardened stuff. Adding some more flux, I'm going to lay down some leaded solder with the bent iron. Unfortunately, it didn't go on in one smooth wipe, so I had to tidy it up a bit. Jump cut to avoid embarrassment. I'm just going to reattach the original port to save some money for me and the customer. Pin by pin, I'll get it attached. Off to the ultrasonic cleaner to get all the flux off. Some clean, warm, distilled water will break off all the dried old flux without causing any ill effects, especially if we get it dried quickly. This is the loudest, most annoying tool in the shop. Thankfully, it only takes a few minutes to get something shiny and clean again. While I wait on that, I'll get the heatsink cleaned up and replace the thermal paste. This is also something the other shop didn't do. Anytime you break the seal on thermal paste, you should definitely replace it. Now this is what an HDMI port should look like. Every pin solidly attached. I'll add on a normal dollop of thermal paste to the CPU. A little bit goes a very long way. Finally, time for some reassembly. All in all, the other shop didn't do a terrible job, they just forgot to actually do the job. I hope they were honest with the customer and didn't charge them, but I fear that wasn't the case. Either way, the customer got this premium job done at a discounted rate for the trouble they had elsewhere, and this ought to encourage them to come back when they need something fixed reliably and honestly. With any luck, they'll also tell their friends. The repair business isn't all about business and making money. Sometimes it's about helping people. And if that turns into some organic marketing and growth for your store, the more the merrier. Thanks a ton for joining me on this repair rant. I've got some games to play now. If you have any questions or comments, drop them below, and I'll see you next time.